Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Josephat, for the kind introduction. So I'm here today because I'm pretty excited about the outcome of this event and many other events to follow. But then I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Beryl Kun'ga. I'm a friend of what's going on here. I'm a friend of the youth, and I really love working with the youth. I've worked with the youth for, I think, all my life since I was a youth, and I'm still a youth. I consider myself a youth. And I look forward to doing a lot of things for the youth in the future. But then I'm going to talk about something that I think is very essential to us in this day and age, and at the same time something that has left us. Like the train has gone, and we are still here wondering, what are we doing as the youth of Kenya? I'm going to talk about digitization. Before I start that topic, I work for a company called Bionic INC. We are a digital payment solution, and what we do is we support enterprises pay the youth on their, using their mobile money or using, other channels that are not the traditional banking channels. But before that, I have been in the banking industry for 14 years. So I've seen the, the traditional way of doing things in finance, and I've seen now we are getting into the more digitized manner of doing things in finance. And that's something that I'm going to talk about today. So when I talk about digitization, and I know we all understand what digitization is, and we all are implementing digitization. We all have all these smartphones. We all have, we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. But as youths, what are we doing with it? Let me give you a scenario. We started having mobile money in 2007. We started using M-Pesa in 2007. But how many of us have converted that into opportunity for us? Does they just receive, money from Lillian and say, that's what M-Pesa does for me and I'm happy with it? As a youth of Kenya, there are enormous opportunities in my space. What I do in digital, digital finance and payments. The institution I work for in the 9 African countries, we support payments for NGOs and everyone through 25 networks. But who are the beneficiaries and what are they doing with this money? Where is this money going to? Are the youth using this money to support something essential? The saying has always been, you support a woman, you support the whole village. I think it's time for us to change the narrative. You support a youth, you support the whole village. And we have an opportunity to do that as a youth. The environment in the digital space has presented us with an opportunity for you to wake up today and start a business deal with, Jinghong Woon in South Africa or in China, and close the deal and have your goods land in Africa and sell them through your social media platforms. You don't have to get out. So what has digitization done to us since 2007 when we say it actually picked up through mobile money? As an individual, the self-awareness, what has it done to you? What impact has it done to your life and the people around you? So allow me to talk about some of the things that I feel as the youth we can harness from this, thing that is going on. And from 2007, there has been an upsurge in people using, mobile money, and companies have been coming up to support us, etc. All those things going on, right? But as the youth, there are too many opportunities that have presented themselves that I feel we have not captured socially, economically, financially, and even politically. My friend and colleague just talked about, us reclaiming what is actually ours, our leadership in this country. When are we going to have a president who's 34 years old? When are we going to have ministers who are 25 years old, like some African countries have started having? Digitization should empower us to look at ourselves as leaders now, not in the future. I'm going to talk about COVID-19. Before COVID-19, we used to wake up at 5 in the morning, get dressed, get stuck in traffic for 3-4 hours, get to the office, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you're out. What has happened to those of us who are employed? COVID-19 came and the employer tells you, now, Mary, we cannot have you in the office, we are downsizing. What have you done? Did you just go home and wait for things to happen? As a youth of this country, COVID-19 came with its own, negatives. COVID-19 came with so much drama, Jobs were lost, people are sick, people are passing away. The entire globe came to a standstill. Flights were cancelled. Even the superpowers do not have control over COVID-19. But guess what? Where there's lemons, the youth should wake up and make lemonade. Digitization, COVID-19 has really escalated the appetite to digitize. And it has made us work from home. Now you sit in your house, have a Zoom call, close the deal. The world has become so tiny, and this in itself is an opportunity for everyone as the youth to wake up and say, the world is so tiny. I really don't have to wake up and go to town to close a deal. I sell clothes. I'm going to go to my Facebook page. I'm going to pin my clothes there. I'm going to put the price, and I'm going to market myself through the digital way. You do not have to wake up every morning, get dressed, and go out. COVID-19 has taught us the hard way that there are simpler and more innovative ways of doing things as youths, and that is by digitization. A very simple definition of digitization is doing everything on the internet, online. And are we doing that? I'm sure we are all empowered. We all buy, MBs, we all have smartphones, 5G is coming up. What advantage are we taking on that as youth? To empower us politically, economically and socially. Are we taking advantage of it? So one thing that I've seen happening, across, at least in the past 10 years, when digitization has come, and I'll talk about COVID-19 after this, a little bit after this, is business continuity. How many of us have businesses that are closed? I'm a salonist. You know what, hey, social distancing, I cannot have people come to my salon. So what I want to do is I'm going to close and stay at home. Because we do not want to innovate. We are sitting still as the youth, and we say, what, the government will think for us. We want to go for kazi for vijana. We are not getting our money. Is that true or false? But when you sit back and wait for someone else to think for you, things will not move. It's about time you have a salon, go online, digitize your business, have business continuity. You have a clothes store, you've closed your store, take nice photos of your clothes, you have a smartphone. Post them to your friends on WhatsApp, post them on Instagram, get the business going. That alone is a lucrative market for you. So digitization has come with a lot of things for us, the youth. We need to harness these opportunities. Business continuity for those of us who had businesses and have closed because of COVID, or have closed because, my business is not happening. This is an opportunity for you to wake up and say, you know what, I'm taking my business online. I'll give you a story of a gentleman who I started serving at my place of work, Bionic. He needed payments. This guy lost his job in a very, nice multinational company. So in March, when COVID came, I told you work from home. In April, they got 50% pay cut. In June, they were told, sir, we cannot keep you because there's no, ongoing. Their business was pretty service-based and face-to-face. So this gentleman went home. He had a small garden. He got sacks. He put soil. He started doing vegetables. All right? A few months later, maybe June, July, in August, the guy had some vegetables, and he was putting the vegetables at the back of his pro box and selling it in the estate. Guess what? A few weeks later, this guy has now hired or leased a piece of land in the neighborhood. He has some drip irrigation, which he has leased as well, and he has started an online store. I might want to tell you the name so that you can look him up, a very young guy. And he approached me and told me, Beryl, I need a payment solution through mobile money because I am delivering vegetables, fruits, and his business is not only for what he grows. Now he has become a broker. He's going to other farmers and telling them, you have tomatoes, you have pineapples, you have this. Can I just take this? I have an order. He doesn't have the goods. He's not growing everything, but he's picking from different people. How about we think that way as youth and say, this is an opportunity. I only sell mangoes. But I know Tom sells oranges. Mary sells skuma wiki. Let us have an online e-store. We come together and we sell our produce together. Together, you will always achieve more. And that's taking advantage of the digitization space, taking advantage of, the current economic and financial situation that we are in as a globe. right? So that story really inspires me when I see a young person do that and actually going out there to try and make lemonade out of lemons with the situation that has been presented to him. Another thing that this digitization era has brought to us is innovation. You know, I have an 8-year-old son, and he kind of knows digital better than I do. And I was surprised that that generation is coming up really fast. And my worry is by the time that generation is 15 years old, they will be bigger innovators. So the youth of today, those guys are going to surpass us because that's where life is going. That's where we are going to. An 8-year-old can tell you, I want to go on this Zoom meeting for my class so that I can just socialize with my friends. And I'm asking myself, wow, how are you going to log in? He says, no. I'm able to log in. I'll just use the logins. And I'm like, how did you know my password? And he's like, Mommy, relax. I will do it. And you watch him do it. And you wonder, the youth of today, we still want to meet face to face before we get things done. At 8 years old, they know, we can make it simpler. I can meet my friends. I can have my classes on Zoom. And that started when COVID came in. And I can close a deal on Zoom. Where does that leave us as the youth of today? Do we want that generation to come and say, at 25, they're going to be leaders because they can connect to the world better than we are? Is that where we want to be? No. We want them to be our successors. And the only way they can be our successors is if we go ahead of them, if we implement these things digitally faster and better, and if we let these children learn. So what generation are we leaving behind? Yeah? So it also leaves us to be kind of reflective in terms of how are we harnessing this digital world. Yeah? I'd also like to talk about how digitization helps us to differentiate our businesses or differentiate ourselves. How about you have a store and you're doing things online and you're posting your products on Facebook and you have an e-marketplace and you're really getting that attention, right? Compared to your neighbor who sits and waits for customers to go through. The new world order is that customers will not come to us. We have to go to them. You see corporate brands going to customers, literally spending money to get to customers. Who are we to sit comfortably and wait for customers to come? We need to position ourselves by use of digital means. We need to differentiate ourselves. This generation needs that differentiator. When you're asked, what are you doing for your business for you to have achieved what you have achieved? You can stand and tell someone, I harness the power of digital marketing. Or I just talked to my friends and I shared my things on Facebook and Instagram. Oh, and I have an e-store where I'm receiving money digitally. And I'm saying digitally, I have this Nduthi person, the rider, motorcycle rider, Mtuanduthi, who runs my stuff when an order is made. And I've really, really perfected my service levels and I've perfected my online store. How many of us are in business, if I may ask? How many of us have a side hustle or the main hustle? Since COVID, thank you very much. Since COVID, how many of us have digitized what we do? Just by show of hands. We have digitized. Thank you very much for those who have digitized. That's the new world order. We are not going to do any business face-to-face. It's going to move from cash to cashless. It's going to move from human interaction, physical, to digital interaction. And that's the new order of doing business. And as the youth, we need to claim our position in that. As the youth, we need to put our feet down and say, we are the leaders of this digital era. We are not going to let our children come to the future generations and say, you know what? That generation let us down. They would say they are the leaders. No, we are the leaders. We have to change our political landscape, our social landscape, our economic landscape through digital means. Digitization has made the world a village, as I started by saying. Digitization has made business accessible. Digitization has positioned businesses differently. And digitization has encouraged other. So I do request, as we leave this place today, let us have some level of innovation. Go back and think and say, I sell mandazis, I sell samosas, I sell clothes. How am I going to take advantage of this as a youth? Yeah? And with that, with those few remarks, unless I still have more time. 2 more minutes, okay, cool. So I'd also like to talk about our own, your own intuition and how you can harness this digitization, as a youth. Most times we feel like, we have to sit in class to be able to learn things. My request is that we go online. If you are a farmer, there are so many farming apps and so many farming, and if you want to go in there, there's so many apps that can teach you how to. If you have a clothes store and you want to have an e-store, just go online and see how to create a website. Get a webhook and start transacting. So as youths, and I would request, let's be the pioneers of this digital generation. Let us take advantage of what COVID-19 has presented us, and let us have these businesses that are aligned to the new world order, because then if we don't, we'll be extinct, and the generation after us, as I've told you, will come in and they will boast. Yeah? And leadership starts from there. Leadership starts from mentoring generations. Leadership starts from us saying, we have taken this initiative, we are going to turn this digital experience into something that's going to create an impact in the society. And the way you can impact society is to create employment by your digital, that Ndudi guy who's delivering your clothes, you're paying him 100 shillings, that's creating employment. So let's start working towards formalizing what we have as businesses, coming together to create these marketplaces, e-marketplaces. And I know we know each other, as we are in groups. I sell clothes, I do nails, he does hair. Why can't you open, a grooming e-marketplace where Beryl or, John and his family, John needs a haircut, the wife needs the nails done. They can go online, say, hey, we'd like to have these services on these days. And you come through. You come and take care of the family, braid their hair, cut their hair, because as youths, we have found something that will empower us for the future and for now. Are we together? Yes, and I thank you very much for coming through. And I hope when we go to the breakout sessions, we're going to talk more on how we will harness and how we will work towards this digital revolution for us to be able to empower ourselves socially, financially, economically, and mostly politically, because that's the driver. That's the driver. All right, thank you so much for all those many remarks. Yeah, asanteni sana.